Hello friends, good morning. This is Piyush Malpure, lecturer in English, and we are going to learn subject communication skills. This is lecture 9. In this subject, today we are going to learn the topic grapevine communication. Yes, you rightly hear grapevine communication. So, this communication is also called as informal communication. In the last lecture, we have seen formal communication. In that communication, we have seen upward, downward, horizontal, diagonal communication. Today, we are going to learn grapevine communication. It is also called as informal communication. So, as defined earlier, that grapevine communication is an informal chat amongst peers, colleagues, and friends. The best time of this kind of communication is during the following process like lunch break, tea break, get together, seminars, meetings, etc. This form of communication has no legal standing. It is merely to make mountain out mountain out of a molehill. And there is immense pleasure in this kind of communication as it deals with speculation and conjunctures. Generally, this kind of conversation takes place amongst groups. There is a close knit grapevine communication spreads like wildfire. This communication is an informal kind, and hence the interest to speak and speculate derives great interest and pleasure amongst the group of friends. Though the grapevine communication may be factual or fiction, it does exist even today in our society. When does the grapevine communication come to fore, or when does it come to effect? So there are some occasions when grapevine communication takes place, like recent news, controversies, people talk about their acquaintances, discussing private and personal problems to others. Here are some of the advantages of grapevine communication. So there are some advantages like it spreads like wildfire. If you want to spread some news, then you can use this type of communication. Then content can be short or long. So there is no limit of content in this type of communication. Then it provides as feedback to the management. Management can derive feedback from this type of communication. Then grapevine communication is acceptable. So we can use this communication at formal occasions also. It vents out disappointment is acceptable. So grapevine communication is a way to vent out our disappointment. And there are some limitations of grapevine communication. Let us see some disadvantages. It may give wrong news or information. So, grapevine communication may spread wrong news. It may tarnish the image of a person. Distortion of news. So, news may be different and the conveyed news may be different. It is not reliable. So, it is unreliable. It is listless and waste of time. So, most of the informal communication is definitely waste of time. Grapevine communication is a key conversation in any organization. It should be dealt with caution and care. Though grapevine communication is acceptable, but it has some disadvantages. So it should be used with care. During the time of strike or hike in pay, this type of communication is at its best. So if some problem occurs, then this type of communication is used to solve that problem. Gossips, rumors, false stories, and spice in speculation. If the grapevine communication is used rather than misused, then it can benefit the organizational setup. So uh, another topic is informal communication. So both are same, but there is a thin line of difference between grapevine and informal. So what is informal communication? Let us see. Informal communication is done using channels that are in contrast with formal communication channels. So there is a difference of channels in formal and informal communication. It's just a casual talk. It is established for social affiliations of members in an organization and face to face discussions. It happens among friends and family. In informal communication, use of slang words for language is not restricted. Means we can use such language. Usually, informal communication is done orally and using gestures. Informal communication, unlike formal communication, doesn't follow authority lines. In an organization, it helps in finding out staff grievances as people express more when talking informally. Informal communication helps in building relationships. So, friends, today we have seen what is informal communication. It is also called as grapevine communication. Thank you very much.